Part 2. One time I'm feeling this author just really just wanted to make one big old chapter, but for some other reason his editor told him no. Just throwing that out there. After battling for another minute, Chrysalis lost another beam at Shadow. The Blackheads are responding with a variation of Carryall Spear. He fires several smaller spears, all of which hit the beam and held it back for a moment, allowing Shadow to finish charging. He leapt up as the beam broke through and fired a much larger Chaos Spear at her, sent her flying back into the force field. As he fell to the ground, the force field finally gave way, shattering to pieces that disappeared as soon as they hit the ground. Seeing the Changeling Queen collapse on the ground, Skula cheered, "Yeah, he did it!" Emperor Mask, "Sleece, can you believe he took on that mean old Changeling all by himself?" Elzek smiled, "I might not agree with some of his fighting methods, but that shell filler is strong for sure. What fighting methods? He just kicked her ass." Sleepbound noticed Shao was walking towards Chrysalis and asked, "What's he doing?" Knuckles growled, "Simple. Shaw's the predator, and the queen is his prey." Fluttershy whimpered from behind her hooves, "He's going to..." As he reached her, the Changeling Queen growled, "This can't be. Impossible. I am the ruler of the swarm. The only one who has defeated Celestia and conquered Canterlot." As he stood in front of her, Shao said, "I can see why you didn't last. The fear in your eyes says it all." He wrapped his left hand around her horn and raised his right foot over her head, causing some of the members of the group to panic and start moving towards him, saying, "And if I may quote Charles Darwin..." Suddenly a voice yelled, "No!" Shao looked up, only to get struck in the face and knocked backwards. Landing on his back, he looked up to see Sonic standing in front of the Queen. "Sonic, you dare get in my way?" Shao growled. "I'm over here, dude!" Shao looked back to see Sonic, Tails, Twilight, Pinkie Pie, Celestia, and Luna standing over a little pass where the force field had been, but otherwise nowhere near him. He looked back to see the other Sonic standing in front of Chrysalis. She chuckled, "Ah, yes. I forgot to mention my changeling army. I happened to locate my fellow changelings and bring them together before I came across the Ponyvilles. I'd like to think that I'm the only person in existence who will forever give Queen Chrysalis a light buzz in her voice." Suddenly, SPO yelled, "Surprise attack, coming from above." Everybody turned around and looked up to where he was looking, only to see multiple green and black specks coming from the white sky. Nobody could tell how many changelings there were, but there was a sizable amount, and it looked like they were coming in for a bombing run. The changelings began to crash land near the group, all of them surrounded by their species' green aura. First, they only landed nearby, but they began to aim, forcing everybody to move away. Shadow, meanwhile, turned back to Chrysalis, only to realize she was gone, and there were now two Sonics standing side by side in front of him. Shadow leapt to his feet and charged them, but the Sonic on his right suddenly charged Pat into a mirror image of him, halted his charge, mimicking the Black Hedgehog as he tried to run past. Shadow raised a fist to strike the imposter on the head, but as soon as he did, the changeling changed into Rainbow Dash and punched him away with a forehose. Shadow fell to his back, landing near Tails and Rouge. Looking up, he realized the changelings had him surrounded. Shadow managed to stand up, but the changelings began to change before everyone else in the group could move. They didn't all change into Twilight and her friends. Some changed into the Kimar Crusaders, some changed into Gildan, some changed into Spike. You guys got the low end of the stick, didn't you? Some changed into the princesses. Some even changed to Sonic and his friends. Once they were surrounded by lookalikes, Rouge spoke. "Someone remind me again what these little pony beasties are." Tails looked there and said, "They're changelings, Rouge." A group of changelings imitating Tails leaned over and repeated, "They're changelings, Rouge." They all grinned and sparked after saying that. Luna looked at Celestia and asked, "Sister, what should we do?" Her sister stopped for a moment before saying, "They're all following their queen's orders. If we can defeat the changelings should retreat." She looked at Shao and asked, "Where did Chrysalis go?" Shao growled, "She disguised herself again." Knuckles said, "She's trying to recover by hiding in a sea of lookalikes." Sonic stuck his right fist in the palm of his hand, saying, Then looks like we're going to have to coax her out. Knuckles grinned. I don't have a problem with that. Getting to a fighting stance, Sonic said, remember, once the fighting starts, stick to your own doubles. Don't attack anyone else unless you know for sure it's a changeling. Everybody else, including Celestia and Luna, prepared themselves as he finished speaking. The first wave of changelings soon leapt up at the group. They responded in kind. A large cloud of dust kicked up as the brawl began. For a brief time, they could all tell the difference. Everybody lashed out at as many changeling imposters as they could. This wasn't hard considering they were all coming straight towards the group. Once everybody began to spread out, however, they all began to focus on only the changelings that were imitating them specifically. While most of the changelings left to the battle ready to fight, some were just now realizing they weren't used to having hands or standing on two legs. As such, even Spike, who, just like Twilight, was going off bits and pieces from Rainbow Dress and Applejack for close quarters fighting, was briefly able to take advantage of their confusion. Some of them, though, were able to adapt to their new forms quickly and began to throw down with the rest of them. In the midst of the fighting, Spike and each of the Keymark Crusaders found themselves being chased by changelings imitating them. As they were running, they realized they were running into a four-way collision. The last second, they all managed to step to the side, resulting in a pile-up of changelings. The four of them nodded to each other before they all leapt onto a pile, a Looney Tunes-style dust cloud being raised as they began attacking the changelings. You don't need to add the Looney Tunes style, buddy. Eventually sending him flying out of the cloud. When the cloud cleared, Spike and the Crusaders were all sitting back to back, panting and looking dusty. Suddenly, they noticed the presence above them and looked up, and standing right over them was a pair of Celestias, both looking down at them with angry eyes. The Felicity baby dragon yelped and huddled together as the two princesses lookalikes extended their wings, rearing back on their hind legs, and raised their hooves over them, as suddenly their heads stretched to the side. The two looked at each other, they glared at each other, both thinking the other hit them. You know what would be cool? Even if it is this headcanon? That Chrysalis is the only one who can actually imitate an alicorn. I just think it would be kind of cool if he did. Spike, Scootaloo, Sweetbell, and Applebloom all looked up for a moment and looked on with wide eyes when they saw two Celestias locked in a host slap fight. A second later, their heads suddenly hit each other, dazing them before suddenly knocked them all away. The four of them looked confused until Espio appeared right behind where they had been standing. Spike said, "Hey, thanks, Espio!" The chameleon nodded, holding his right index and middle fingers up near his horn as he replied, "Your small size gives you advantage. Make the most of it. But be careful." He then camouflaged himself, seemingly fans in the thin air. Spike and the Crusaders looked at each other for a moment before standing up, dancing back into the thick of battle. Why do I have a feeling I know somebody's his favorite member of the Chaotix? Nearby, Shadow was backing up from a group of shadow changelings when his backside suddenly came to contact with what felt like fur and feathers. Looking back over his shoulder, he found Gilda looking back at him. The two were relatively on good terms, considering they both ended up together in the Crystal Mine. So Shadow turned his back to the changelings while Gilda did the same. Before he could attack, however, he felt a burst of magic about him and turned around, only to find a changeling hissing in his face. Unfortunately for the changeling, Shadow immediately recognized him as a threat, and swung his left fist to the side of his muscle, knocking him away. While his back was turned, the Shadow changelings took the opportunity to leap at him. Shadow turned to see them all overhead with their arms outstretched. As soon as they were in range, however, Shadow pressed his left hand against the ground, and held himself up while he swung his legs around in jets, airsuit spewing flames, and unfortunately the changelings had no way to dodge the flames in midair, so they all ended up getting burnt. Changelings, maybe you shouldn't try to pretend that you are any member of the Mobians. Just saying. The Black Headsark turned around and shouted to find Gilda changelings leaping out too. Before they could reach the height of their leap, however, the one in the middle suddenly slashed the changeling on the left with her claws. Rouse punched the changeling on her right, causing both changelings to crash into the others. Shadow looked at the remaining Gilda with spread her wings and led to a second layer. She grinned at Shadow. "Get you back!" Shadow smiled. This was the real Gilda. A second later, they both heard Sonic shout, "Heads up!" They turned to see Sonic and Amy running towards them, the pink hedgehog holding her Pico Pico hammer. They both turned to see a line of Sonic's and Amy's rushing towards them. As they got closer, Sonic called into a ball and Amy held her hammer back, saying, "Mind if I play through?" She had swung her hammer like a cocaine mallet, sending Sonic flying into the fake Amy, then whacking him several more times before leaping up and sending him down towards the fake Sonic. Sonic bounced up after hitting the fake. Gilda glanced back behind Amy to see a fake shadow coming towards her. Spreading her wings, Gilda flew up and caught Sonic in her right claw, turned and held her arm back before throwing it directly at the fake. After rebounding the faker's head and landing, Sonic looked back at Gilda and grinned. Nice throw! The Griffin smirked at that. She, along with Sonic and Shout, and watched as Amy ran after a fake Sonic, yelling something about impersonating her blue bow. And there we go! We were doing good, Vic. We were doing good. We had Amy being cool. Then you ruined it. Elsewhere, Rouge was surrounded on all sides by the Changeling imposters, almost all of them taking the form of a male, being Sonic, Tails, Knuckles, Shell, SPO Cheese, or Spike. The treasure hunter was currently handling the situation well, all things considered, but she was also starting to tire out. After kicking away a Spike imposter and grabbing and swinging an SPO Changeling around before throwing it at someone or something, placed her hands on his knees as she leaned over and panted. She looked up at the glaring eyes all around her and smirked. Take it easy, boys. You'll all get your turn. Two changelings, one pretending to be Knuckles and the other pretending to be Sao, slowly charged her. Apparently not the basic kind of changelings. In response, Ruth spread her wings and took off, the two changelings flying into her head first. As she began to fly away from the gathering, Ruth muttered, Masters, I think this is why I prefer spy work over missions. Xiao is usually assigned. Suddenly she felt something grab her legs and turned back to see a Tails changeling trying to pull her down. Ugh, you sure are fresh, Ruth quipped. A shout from front of her caught her vast attention, and she turned her head to look. And there was Rarity, flying towards her with her back leg extended in a flying hoof kick. She wasn't aiming for Rouge, though. She was aiming for the changeling holding onto her. She struck it square in the chest, knocking the wind out of it, and causing it to release Rouge. Rarity landed on her host moments after the changeling ended up on its back, Rouge landing a second behind her. The bat glanced at her and said, not bad at all. Rarity looked over his shoulder, saying, I hope you're not giving up, Rouge. Surely you wouldn't dream of tucking up before me. Rouge smirked, Of course not. I just need a minute to catch my breath. She pressed her hands together and pushed them out before saying, Let's get back into it. And how about you show me what else you're capable of while we're at it? Rarity nodded before they charged towards the changeling surrounding them. And they weren't the only ones working together. They were still moving around, but everyone was sticking together to help bring down the changeling horde. Sonic and Twilight, Tails and Fluttershy, Knuckles and Applejack, Cream Cheese, Rainbow Dash, SPO and Pinkie Pie, Amy, Spike, Keymarker Crusader, Sao, Gilda, Celestia, Luna, and they all lived together in the house that Derek built. The end! They're all working together to defeat this enemy. Haven't seen this long forever. Amidst all the fighting, however, everybody failed to notice that out of all the changelings, there was one that was not battling. This one kept moving around the field, chasing its form and ducking behind the other changelings whenever someone came close to it. Now in the form of Twilight Sparkle, the changeling could see how badly the situation was becoming for the changelings. It turned to flee towards Ponyville. Knuckles noticed the changeling and Applejack changeling flying towards the real Earth Pony. He yelled, Hi! Twilight's running away! Sonic yelled out, No, he's not, Knuckles. He's right there. He pointed to the lever the unicorn next to him, specifically a horn, was assuming a few magenta sparks as he readied her spell. Tails looked and yelled, That's gotta be the Queen! The Twilight Imposter began to run faster at that. Both Shadow and Gilda heard the fox and dealing with one last changeling, turned and started chasing after Chrysalis. As he ran, Shadow called, You handle the rest of these. We'll take care of her. Chrysalis growled as he saw Shadow and Gilda following her. Confound these creatures. They forced me to do this. While Bryce let out a loud insect call. Victory? Back in Whitetail Wood, Applejack looked up as she heard the Queen's echo. What was that? She wondered. It sounded like an insect call, Fluttershy said. Tails looked at the changelings and noticed they all frozen up at the sound of the call. What's up with them? He asked. He got his answer. A second later, when they all suddenly ditched their magic disguises and spread their wings, flying away. What's going on? Tails wondered. It appears they are retreating, Celestia said. And somewhere out there, you could hear Myken talking about how Starfleet's visors would be able to see through the skies is because they could see, things like all these other health beats and heartbeats and yada, yada, yada. When everybody just rolls their eyes and points out that changelings change everything! Seriously. Some people. Awesome! That must mean Shalcott the Queen! Rainbow Dash cheered. Does that mean what we heard was a call for help? Or perhaps something else? Luna mused. Sight nose sheet moving in the distance. Near the silhouettes of buildings in Ponyville. A lot of shapes. Hey, does Ponyville look a little livelier now? He asked. Twilight looked where he was looking, seeing the same thing he saw. After thinking for a moment, her eyes went wide as he muttered, "Oh no." Spike heard her and walked over to her, asking, "What's wrong, Twilight?" The Laboratory Unicorn replied, "Remember when Queen Chrysalis says he gathered a changeling army?" Spike's confused. He gestured towards Ponyville and said, "I think that's the rest of it." The others exclaimed, "What?" at this thought. Sonic glanced back at Ponyville and said, "Yes, that's the case. That must be a combination of a regroup attack call we heard." Celestia commanded, "We must get back to Ponyville immediately." Not one to deny an order from the princess, they all took off running in the direction of the town. Sonic and Rainbow Dash, unsurprisingly, were the first ones to reach the buildings closest to Whitetail Wood. Even though they were still near the outskirts of the town, it was pretty clear what was going on. Police had been brought back and been forced out of their now damaged homes, were now running through the streets of Ponyville. The changelings were taking advantage of the confusion, some chasing after assistants, while other posed and ponies being chased. When where they were, Sonic and Rainbow could see Mayor, the Cakes, Lyra, and Bon Bon among the ponies being hassled. Everyone else arrived soon after, all of them quickly taking in the scene before them. "This is terrible," Green whimpered. "Wow, Sally, look at all of them! I wonder how many there are," Pinky exclaimed. "Don't think this is the time to be counting them, Pinky. Especially not with all the other ponies that are being forced into this," Tails said. Rainbow asked, "Any ideas?" Twilight spoke. "Change the plans. We're going to need some ponies to be ready to move the real ponies somewhere safe as soon as we locate them. This would take some of the changelings' disguises. Useless if the ponies are out on the streets," Sonic suggested. "Sounds like a job for those of us who don't like to fight." Twilight nodded. "Yeah, good idea." So he turned to Fluttershy, Cream, Cheese, Tails, Amy, and said, "Fluttershy, Cream, Cheese, I want you three to stay off to the side while we try to locate the real Ponyville citizens. Once we found them, I want you to take them somewhere safe." The three of them nodded. Twilight then turned to Tails and Amy, saying, "Tails, Amy, you two will keep an eye on them, both in case the changelings try to attack them, and in the event that it's not the real pony." They nodded in understanding. So I said, "Alright guys, Shadow and Gilda are probably trying to repel them. Let's get in there and help them out!" Everybody nodded. Luna and Celestia took to the skies, while everybody else dashed into Ponyville. As they separated from the rest of the group, Tails called to Amy, Cream, Cheese, and Fluttershy. "Let's see if we can find the mayor first. The changelings might decide she's the one pony that needs to be taken care of." They nodded in agreement and began heading towards the direction of Town Hall. When they reached Town Hall, after leaping several over and going under various ponies and changelings along the way, they found a small crowd of changelings, some into the skies, gathered around the front of the building. They all soon noticed a small group behind them and, after a moment, they all adopted menacing smiles. Tails, Cream, Cheese, and Fluttershy were all unnerved at the sight of that many teeth, but Amy remained calmed. She raised her hammer and said, "Leave them to me." She had transferred as all the changelings looked at her. Fluttershy, Tails, Cream, and Cheese all watched on in silence as Amy's hammer began to make short work of the changelings. Mostly set flying sideways swings, while the others she performed a downward swing, bringing the full weight of her hammer down on them. As the last of the changelings began to regroup, Amy held her hammer out of her side and began to spin around like a top, plotting the changelings and sending them flying away at Town Hall. At the end of all, there was a smile of twisting changelings surrounding the building. Cream and Cheese hurried over to Amy while she stopped spinning, the pink hedgehog leaning on her hammer. "I'm losing, Amy," Cream said. Cheese gave a cheer. "Choo!" Tails and Fluttershy came out with Fluttershy asking, "Oh, Amy, are you going to be okay?" A little dazed, Amy looked up and replied, "Yeah, I'll be okay, Fluttershy. But I'm going to need a minute. Feel a little dizzy." She looked over at Tails and said, "Go help the mayor, Tails. I feel you'll be able to cause less damage in a close space than I will." Tails said, "Wait!" And then hurried past her, saying, "Let's hurry!" Fluttershy, Cream, and Cheese quickly followed him. still thinking of Amy, but knowing she would be able to handle herself if anything happened. Luckily, the front door wasn't blocked, so they didn't need to force their way in. Tails led the way up to the mayor's office. All of them worried was they made their way past furniture that had been knocked over. They soon reached the upper layers of Town Hall, where they found a small horde of changelings trying to break down the double doors leading to the mayor's office. They were unprepared for the group coming up behind them, and were easily subdued by 2 tail whips from Tails, instead of stomping and hanging butt for cream and cheese. Once they were moved off to the side, Tails knocked at the doors and said, "It's me, it's me, Tails!" After 1 second, one of the doors opened slightly, and the Tan Mayor lunged through the crack. "Is it really you? And Flashlight and who's this?" she asked. Tails answered, "Cream and cheese, and yes, it's us. We have to get you out of here before any more changelings show up." Mayor murmured, "Okay, but where are we going?" Tails stopped for a second before saying, "As long as it's not damaged the library, it should be big enough for all the ponies to stay in here until it's over." The mayor, feeling a little better now, opened the door all the way and replied, "Okay, does that mean you're going to help the rest of the ponies in Ponyville as well?" Tails nodded. "We're going to get to town once we found a safe place for us to go." Cream nodded. "You only can't pull back into all this fighting after we have to get away from it." Cheese nodded in agreement. Mayor nodded. "Alright, lead the way." Cream, Cheese, and Fluttershy moved to the mayor's side, and Tails beside her as Tails led the way out of Town Hall. Desperate struggle. While they regrouped with Amy and started heading towards the library, everybody else was hurrying around town, trying to pick out the real ponies from the changelings. In one part of town, Knuckles and Applejack were hurrying down the street, heading for a group of changelings surrounding a pony with Espio sneaking around behind them. As soon as they reached the group of changelings, the two of them started tearing through the changeling gathering. After about a minute, all the changelings had been knocked out, while Knuckles checked to make sure none of them would get back up anytime soon. Applejack tried over to the pony he'd been harassing, which turned out to be Lyra. Applejack offered a hoof to the unicorn, helping her up, saying, "Come on, darling, get up. You're okay now." She let go of Lyra's hoof and turned her head to look around. "Now, if only like a fat Fluttershy group, we could get you out of here," she murmured. She felt a tap on her shoulder and turned to see Lyra grinning at her. A second later, green bursts of magic enveloped her. She turned out to be a changeling. "Oh, come on!" Applejack cried in expression, just before the changeling attacked her. Knuckles turned to see both the Earth's air pulling out her back and the changeling standing over her. Hissing her, he immediately dashed toward her, delivering his fist to the changeling's side, sending it crashing into a nearby house. Before he could help her up, Applejack yelled, "Knuckles, look out!" Knuckles looked over her shoulder, saw 3 changelings hovering above him, turning to pile on top of them. Before he could land on Knuckles, however, something slammed to his side, knocking one into leaving the other sprawled out. Both Applejack and Knuckles looked around, Applejack thinking a spell was responsible for her prompting the changelings. A moment later, Espio appeared in front of the changelings. Knuckles grinned. "Thanks for the assist, Espio." Chameleon nodded and disappeared again. "Where'd he go?" Applejack asked as Knuckles pulled her up. "He's Chameleon, I'm the ninja. I'm sure he's around," Knuckles replied. Applejack shrugged and he moved on, searching for more ponies. A second later. Luna was flying over Ponyville, her eyes scanning the fight going on below. She managed to track down Sonic and Tails a few minutes ago to get a report from them. The changelings had left the library alone, so it was being used as a temporary shelter for the citizens of Ponyville. Since apparently they're changelings and they don't like to read. Since Mayor had been sent there, the real Lyra, the Cakes, they had been easy to pick out since Cupcake was carrying the twins, and Carrot King had been staying close by her, a stallion with an hourglass cutie mark. Tails thought he said his name was Time Turner, and had been relocated to the library as well, among other ponies. It was clear they were making headway as far as getting the citizens of Ponyville out of danger. But it's getting difficult to get word around to the others, and still having to deal with lookalikes. As he continued flying, Luna spied something. Taking a closer look, she saw it was Xiao and Gilda with a horde of changelings in front of them, and a foal sitting behind them. Looking at the foal, she noticed he seemed familiar. "Pissquake!" she said suddenly, slipping down, landing directly behind the changelings. One of them turned around and let out a cry upon seeing her, some of the others turning around as well. Before they got attacked, Luna charged her magic and fired a lightning bolt from her horn at the changelings, electrocuting and stunning the whole group. It was made easy for Xiao and Gilda to take care of them. As soon as the lane was clear, Pipsqueak stood up and hurried over to the Princess of the Night, crying, "Princess Luna!" Luna raised a hoof and placed it on the foal's back once he was close enough. Covering him, she said, "Pipsqueak, all's all well." The white earth pony nodded secretly. Luna turned her head as she heard someone call, "Hey!" She saw Sonic running towards her. The blue hedgehog skating to a stop near her. He spoke, "I saw you coming in for a landing, Luna. Is everything okay?" Pipsqueak looked up at Luna and asked, "Is this Princess Luna?" Luna looked down and replied, "Aye, Pipsqueak. I'm perhaps a new friend." She then looked up at Sonic and said, "I am fine, Sonic, but this is not safe out here for Pipsqueak." Sonic nodded. "Okay, then let's..." Before he could finish, a Sonic chasingly looked at him, trying to attack him. Sonic heard him coming and barely managed to avoid the fist that was swung at his face. "Oh, hey there, Faker!" He grunted before kicking the Changeling in the face. Soon, Changelings appeared on the scene. Sonic, Shadow, and Gilda leaping into the action to deal with them, while Luna held Pipsqueak close. Anticipating dashing a Changeling away, Shadow said, "This fight is beginning to get out of control." Gilda looked at him, keeping the Changeling restrained underneath her, and asked, "You mean it was controlled before?" Leaning back, Shadow clarified, "We cannot keep protecting each other, especially not when it's hard to tell who's friendly and who's not." Sonic nodded. "Yeah, things can really stand to settle down." Luna said, "If only we had all the elements of harmony, we could certainly drive them out all at once, similar to what Celestia said Shiny Alma and Princess Cadence did at the royal wedding." Sonic asked, "Why do you take them all out at once, huh? That gives me an idea." He started running down the street calling, "Come on, Luna, we gotta fight Tails and get Pipsqueak to safety." Luna nodded, "Oh, yes." She looked down at the little earth pony, levitating him up and onto her back. She looked back at him and said, "Hold on tight, Pipsqueak. I will be careful not to drop you." Pipsqueak nodded and grabbed onto her tightly as he spread her wings. Looking back at Shadow and Gilda, Luna asked, "Will the two of you be alright?" Shadow replied, "We'll be fine. Just go before any more changelings show up." Luna nodded and took off, flying after Sonic. Sonic hurried through the streets of Ponyville, his eyes scanning for Tails, while Princess Luna flew close behind him. After a few moments, he spotted the fox, along with Cream, Cheese, Fluttershy, Amy, escorting Bonbon to the library. "Hey, Tails!" Tails turned around and saw Sonic and Luna running towards him. He stopped and waited for Sonic, Cheese and the girls stopping when they realized he wasn't following them. Once Sonic came to a stop in front of him, and Luna landed next to the hedgehog, Tails said, "Hey, Sonic! Hey, Luna! What's going on?" Luna turned a slightly profile and showed him Pipsqueak, saying, "Our young friend here, Pipsqueak, needs socks today. Can you escort him there, young Tails?" The fox nodded. "Of course, leave it to me, Luna." Sonic held Pipsqueak off to Luna Princess's back and held him out to Tails. As his friend took the young foal in his arms, Sonic asked, "By the way, Tails, you still have the warp ring, right?" Tails looked down and replied, "Yes, of course I do, Sonic. Why?" Blue Hedgehog answered, "I got an idea that this might take care of all the changelings at once, but I'll need that ring to make it work." Tails fixed his right hand into his right tail for a second and brought the ring out. Holding out to Sonic, he said, "Here it is. What are you going to do?" Sonic grinned as he took the ring into his right hand. "You'll see." He took off running again, calling back to everyone, "I'll catch up with you guys later. I gotta find Knuckles!" Luna looked at Tails and asked, "Do you know what he is going to do, Tails?" Tails tried, "No idea, but I have faith in him. He won't let us down." He then bowed to the princess and returned, running after Amy's group, who had started moving again, while Luna decided to listen to what he said and took to the air again. After a few moments of running, Tails and the others arrived at the library, Amy knocking on the door to alert the ponies inside. Lyra looked at the window at the ground floor, and her eyes lit up when she saw Bonbon. The door instantly swung open thanks to her magic, as she pounced upon the earth pony, hugging her. "Ah, my favorite lesbian couple." Tails, Pipsqueak, Cream, Cheese, and Amy all looked on curiously, while Fluttershy tried to keep a straight face. She heard the rumors flying around Ponyville about the two roommates. She hoped she wasn't about to learn whether there was any truth to them now of all times. Thankfully, the mayor poked her head out through the door and asked, "What's going on out there?" Fluttershy turned to her and murmured, "Oh, sorry, Miss Mayor. Green helped her. But Miss Bonbon and Pipsqueak here, so they may be able to be safe, Miss Mayor." The Lieutenant Mayor looked at the pale cream earth pony and leaned back, looking at Lyra's face. "That's a relief. I'm glad they haven't been hunted either. But please, I must ask you all to come inside, now!" the mayor said. Everybody, including Lyra and Bonbon, followed her through the doorway in the library, the mayor shutting down the door behind them. Tails set Pipsqueak down and looked around the ground floor of the library as he stood near the table in the center. "For the list of those cells, it looks like everybody's gonna be okay," he nodded. Mayor came over to them. Pipsqueak said, "Yes, so far, Tails. We've been doing our best to keep things together. Amy asked, what do you mean? Mrs. Cake came out of the kitchen carrying pound cake in one hoof and said, my husband and I are the only ones who have got something to do. What with the cakes and out dealing? So far everybody else has been too worried about what's going on inside to do much of anything. The mayor nodded. Aside from waiting for good news, that is. Tails nodded. I see. Well, hopefully whatever Sonic is playing will take care of our little Tinsley infestation in a timely manner. Amy held up her hammer and said, come on, Tails. There are some other ponies running around out there. They need our help. Tails nodded. Right. He looked back at the mayor and swaying and saying, we'll be back, Miss Mayor, and we'll keep you up on the situation. He then followed Amy outside. Cream, cheese, Fluttershy following him out. The mayor watched them go with a worried look on her face for a moment before shutting the door.